A few days ago, Nuno Loureiro, a physicist, a scientist, a researcher from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is a very prestigious university in the United States, was murdered. He was shot to death very close to his home. They didn't rob him, they didn't beat him, there was no prior threat or anything. And obviously, this whole situation raised a lot of suspicions about what happened, why he was killed, why he was the target of a killer. Maybe this scientist had discovered something he wasn't supposed to. Maybe they wanted to steal his research. The thing is, at first, this investigation caught the attention of many people. A lot of conspiracy theories came up that have a lot to do with a topic we recently covered on the channel, which is the story of Nikola Tesla. We released a video yesterday. If you missed it, YouTube didn't recommend it much, so you probably haven't seen it. We discussed this earlier. What's happening? When a scientist wants to make a discovery that might benefit humanity, but if it's free, that discovery can't be monetized? Powerful corporations or individuals often send someone to silence, discredit, or even kill researchers so their findings never become public. Nikola Tesla was reportedly intent on providing free electricity to everyone. So, obviously, everyone who was behind the electricity business, which was just starting out, said, "This guy. Don't fund him further, he'll ruin our business." And Tesla ended up completely bankrupt, alone, locked in a hotel room without any kind of prestige. And even his notebook, his notes, they were seized by the CIA or FBI. Some government agency took them, and the truth never came out. So, several people started to connect this story. If you haven't seen the story of Nikola Tesla, go watch the video we uploaded yesterday, which has a lot to do with this. And also, if you don't like these kinds of videos, which are basically just videos, me browsing the internet and reading the news, there's nothing more, no analysis or big revelation. It's not about a big elaborate script or fancy editing or anything like that. It's more about sharing updates. Maybe you didn't see them, maybe you heard about them, or maybe you didn't read them. I read you those news stories, we discuss them together, and we draw conclusions together. If you don't like this format, that's no problem, you don't have to watch it. Watch the Nikola Tesla video we released yesterday. It's beautifully edited with great music, animation, and everything you enjoy. A lot of analysis, go watch that one and leave this video right now. If you kept going, it's because you like this format, so I hope there won't be any complaints about the format in the comments. Let's see what was said about this guy, because it turns out the investigation took a turn yesterday, and they linked her to a shooting that happened very recently, where the shooter hadn't been identified until now. So everything seems to be connected. There are a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of government secrets, all that kind of stuff that we fans of the files like. X. There are several of those around here. Let's check what happened here, it says. Nuno Loureiro, a prominent nuclear scientist from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, is murdered. The Massachusetts authorities have launched a homicide investigation following the murder of the renowned physicist and director of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Plasma Science and Fusion Center. He was considered a key figure in nuclear fusion research to combat climate change. Loureiro was shot several times on Monday night at his home in Brookline and died on Tuesday morning at a Boston hospital. So far, there are no suspects in custody, and the police are keeping the investigation active. And here again we have another news story from Associated Press that says, police intensified the search for the suspect in the fatal shooting of a Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor. Nuno Loureiro, a 47-year-old physicist specializing in fusion, was shot Monday night in his Brookline apartment. Fusion Years apartment. And there we have, I don't know if there are witnesses or someone talking there.
If there are witnesses, or is it just disgusting to live in such terrible times?
She's currently a witness and clearly a neighbor.
That.
She's saying that violence happens everywhere. Another witness reports hearing 3 gunshots around 9 p.m.
Witness who at 9 at night heard gunshots. So I called the neighbors and they said no, that they were gunshots.
Of course, he heard 3 shots. At first he thought it was someone trying to knock on the door to get in, and the neighbors told him no. They were 3 gunshots. These are people from the neighborhood basically, who were present when the murder happened. Let's see. And here it says Professor Assassinato from Massachusetts Institute of Technology Fusion basically said, what if we ignored Einstein and treated plasma only as a continuous fluid, not as particles? Is it mechanical or ethereal like Lorentz and Tesla thought? Here's the timestamp. Back again. This is where the conspiracy theories I told you about started, where they connect this scientist Loureiro with Nikola Tesla, who we actually talked about yesterday on this channel. And all these theories start like, what if they killed him? Because the guy knew something or was about to discover something that would change the history of humanity, right? I mean, people always talk about these kinds of things when crimes like this happen. And let's see what we have here. And here they say, this isn't the first Massachusetts Institute of Technology fusion scientist to meet a tragic end. In 1989, Eugene Madoff reported the cover-up of cold fusion by the Department of Energy and Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After anomalous excess heat was reproduced dozens of times, in 2004 he was found brutally murdered in his home. And here we clearly have, well, a statement from this scientist who was also brutally murdered in his home. And again, we come back to this, right? What is happening? What happens when scientists start talking about things they shouldn't talk about and maybe they get silenced? Let's see, we were going to read a news article that talked a little bit about him, right? And it says, Nuno Loureiro, director of a key nuclear fusion laboratory at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, was murdered in Boston. The Portuguese physicist, a leading plasma and fusion energy researcher, was shot and killed outside his Brookline home. The police are investigating the crime as a homicide. A professor at Massachusetts Institute of Technology and a prominent figure in plasma physics and nuclear fusion research. He has died after being shot in front of his home in the Boston metropolitan area. Nuno F. Gomes Loureiro, 47, is a Portuguese citizen and director of a leading scientific lab at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He passed away this Tuesday morning as a result of the injuries he suffered the previous night in Brookline, according to local police, the university, and the Ministry of Economic Affairs. The attack happened around 8:30 p.m. on Monday, when the police received an alert about gunshots in a residential building on Griff Street. When they arrived at the scene, the officers found Loureiro with multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed by ambulance to Boston Hospital, where he died hours later. The authorities have not reported any tensions, and the case is still being investigated as an active homicide, according to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Neighbors in the building told United States media that they had heard 3 loud bangs and initially thought it was an attempt to force open a door. A resident of the neighborhood said that the professor had a young family and that his children attended a nearby school. This is a fact that has reinforced the impact of the crime on the local community. Since May 2024, Loureiro has led Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, a top global research hub for plasma physics and fusion energy. The Plasma Science and Fusion Center unites over 250 researchers, engineers, and students to develop technologies that replicate the sun's energy on Earth, a promise of clean electricity generation with no carbon emissions and virtually unlimited. A specialist in theoretical physics, Loureiro focused his career on the study of the dynamics of magnetized plasmas, a fundamental state of matter for both nuclear fusion and astrophysical phenomena. His work explored key processes like magnetic reconnection, which causes sudden, massive energy releases, magnetic field generation and amplification, the confinement of plasma in fusion reactors, and turbulence in highly magnetized environments. We have a news report here from 30 Mile Zone that says the shooter at Brown University. Let's see what that's about now. What about the person who shot the Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor? They could be connected according to the police, and here it says they found the suspect in the Brown University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology shooting dead, identified as a former graduate student, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. Notice that he also has a Portuguese name. He was found dead, authorities reported. The suspect in last weekend's mass shooting at Brown University, which left 2 students dead and 9 others injured, was found dead on Thursday. Authorities said he is the same man who shot and killed a Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor, 2 days after the shooting on the Rhode Island campus. During a press conference on Thursday, authorities identified the suspect as Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, a former Brown graduate student, 48 years old, who attended the school about 25 years ago. Authorities stated that he took his own life. His body was discovered in a warehouse in New Hampshire after an intense multi-state search that lasted for days. Tonight, our neighbors in Providence will finally be able to breathe a little easier, said Mayor Brett Smiley to reporters at a press conference on Thursday night. Authorities said there is no evidence that Valente was working with anyone else, and they described in detail his movements before and after the shooting, including the steps he took to hide from the authorities have not yet provided a motive for the consecutive shootings that left residents in some parts of New England on edge for days. The president of Brown University, Christina Paxson, stated that Neves Valente enrolled as a doctoral student in Brown's physics program in the year 2000, and he attended for less than a year before taking a leave of absence and then withdrawing. Paxson added that it is believed that, as a physics student, he spent considerable time in the engineering building. Burroughs and Hawley, who was the target of the shooting on Saturday. Valente, who entered the United States in 2000 with a student visa, obtained legal residency in April 2017, authorities said. Homeland Security Secretary Christine Ohm said the suspect received a visa via the Diversity Lottery program in 2017. And she said that the Department of Homeland Security would pause the program immediately to ensure that no more students are harmed. Neves stated in an early Friday X post that this atrocious individual should never have entered our country in 2017. Did officials say he was currently affiliated with the school? So how are the crimes from the shooting related? December 13. 2025, a mass shooting occurred at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. During the second day of finals week for the fall semester, an armed man entered the School of Engineering, killing 2 students and injuring 9. While attending a review session in preparation for final exams. 2 days later, on December 15, the same gunman shot Nuno Loureiro, a physics professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, several times outside his home in Brookline, Massachusetts, where he later died. Because of his injuries, the shooter was the subject of a 5-day manhunt by the FBI and local police. The police released images and videos of the suspect, who was wearing a mask. Authorities have linked the murder of Loureiro with the shooting at Brown University. A person of interest was found dead inside a warehouse in New Hampshire. That's the context we have. So how are the university shooting and the murder of this scientist related? Massachusetts authorities confirmed Valente is also the alleged shooter in Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor Nuno Loureiro's death in Brookline, who was fatally shot Monday night in the lobby of his building in Brookline, Massachusetts. Both men were natives of Portugal, which is why I told you the name also sounded Portuguese. And the United States Attorney for Massachusetts, Leah Foley, told reporters at a press conference Thursday night. It is believed that Valente and Loureiro studied the same academic program in Portugal in the 1990s. Here's where a strange connection comes in, right? I mean, it seems that both of them studied together, both the shooter and the scientist. Was there a previous story? Was there something that connected them? Before these crimes, it was only 1 or 2 days ago that the connection between the 2 puzzling crimes began to be established, Foley told reporters and authorities. Valente's last known address was in Miami, but he had rented a hotel room in Boston at the end of November, Foley said. On December 1st, he rented a gray Nissan Sentra. Listen up, this relates to something found on Reddit. I'll read it to you now, okay? He was later seen intermittently in the campus area during the 12 days prior to the shooting, he added. The Providence police chief, Oscar Perez, said that the local police helped locate Valente, thanks in part to a surveillance video and a detailed tip about a vehicle driven by a person who noticed strange behavior from the suspect. And here we have something we're going to look at now, the Reddit screenshot that said, "I'm totally serious. The police should investigate a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental," the informant told the police. According to a report released by the Rhode Island authorities, it was the car that was leading the way. Surveillance video and license plate readers led investigators to a car rental agency in Massachusetts. There, the police obtained a copy of the rental contract with the suspect's name, as well as a video of the suspect that matched the videos of the person of interest seen on the Brown University campus on the day of the shooting. Authorities stated that the discovery ultimately led them to a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, on the border with Massachusetts, where Valente had rented a unit. Foley. The federal prosecutor stated that investigators believe Valente fled to the storage facility shortly after the shooting of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor on Monday night. On Thursday night, investigators were closing in on the storage facility and obtained a search warrant that FBI Special Weapons and Tactics teams executed shortly before 9 p.m. Authorities reported that Valente's body was found in a storage unit next to the one he had rented. A wallet with 2 firearms was found on him. The 2 Brown students who were killed were identified as Ella Cook, 19, and Mohammad Aziz Umar Sokov, 18. Both were hit by gunfire when the shooter burst into the first-floor auditorium, where a review session for an economics course was taking place. The building was open because exams were being held there at the time of the shooting, the university president said. Authorities also said Thursday that someone confronted the gunman in a bathroom in the building and said they felt he didn't belong there. And we're going to keep going here because this is very interesting, because where does this come from? Here we have the police search when they approached the storage unit, and here we have the statement. This came out on Reddit. A person on Reddit made this statement, which is basically what I read to you a little while ago. Am I being serious? The police have to look for a gray Nissan with a Florida license plate, and here, later. The person says that they witnessed this guy who approached the Nissan and unlocked it with the electronic key. They noticed something, walked away from the car, and left. It happened then. When this witness approaches the car, they see that the license plate is from Florida. And then they see how the person who opened the car, who had the car key, comes back, gets inside the car, and leaves. This is incredible because it blew up on Reddit before the authorities found out, before the authorities identified the suspect and everything. And here someone does a kind of recap of the events and says, so to sum up, a nuclear scientist was murdered. Could it be related? Trump's company teams up with a major nuclear fusion firm. This also happened at the same time as these shootings, the university shooting and his murder, 2 people dead. The FBI does nothing. The shooter was found dead. They just say, okay, no more questions. Authorities have identified the suspect in last weekend's shooting at Brown University and the murder of a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on Monday as Claudio Manuel Neves, a 48-year-old Portuguese citizen from Miami, Florida, a former student of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, who was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound earlier inside a storage unit in New Hampshire. And here we have the photo. Here we have the photo of the alleged perpetrator of the shooting and also of the professor's murder. And here it says, according to witnesses and court documents, a man who allegedly sleeps in the basement of the Brown University building. A homeless person, essentially a vagrant, was sleeping at Brown University. He told the police that he saw the suspect in the basement earlier on the day of the shooting and followed him outside. As he approached the suspect, the witness saw him walk toward a gray Nissan vehicle and open it with a key fob. However, when he noticed, the suspect backed away, locked the car again, and left. After the shooting, the witness posted on Reddit, "I'm completely serious. The police should investigate a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental. I know because he used his key fob to open the car. He approached it and something made him step back, and as he stepped back, he locked the car again with the key. It seemed strange to me, so when he went around the block, I approached the car. That's when I saw the license plate." Reddit information led investigators to the vehicle, helping identify and track the suspect, Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. And here, obviously, there are people who start putting forward conspiracy theories again. Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor Nuno Loureiro's murder was premeditated. He was no ordinary professor. He was a pioneer in the race for unlimited energy. His work to promote unlimited and emission-free energy was a threat to the big oil companies. And his murder should be seen from this perspective, which is what I told you. Basically, this is the point where it connects with Nikola Tesla. The person suspected in both the Brown University shooting and the murder of Massachusetts Institute of Technology physicist Claudio Neves Valente is now a person of interest. He represented Portugal in the 1995 International Physics Olympiad. He was a talented student. His father reportedly found him dead by suicide in a Salem warehouse. And here we have what look like newspaper clippings where supposedly one of them should be the killer. It's kind of hard to recognize him because it's not really clear who he is, but one of them should be the killer. One of these young students shown here in 1995. And that's all the data we have on this case so far. A lot of open data, a lot of things still up in the air. Was the scientist's murder something planned, something orchestrated by big oil companies, by major businessmen worried about the research this man was conducting? Or was it just a personal vendetta? It has been proven that both of them studied at the same time in Portugal at the same university and then moved to the United States. It was a long-standing vendetta. Something happened between these two students when they were young at university, and now it came to fruition many years later when both were close to turning 50 years old. Or does it come from somewhere else, maybe over there? Someone obviously linked it to Donald Trump, to people in power. It's something that always happens when similar events occur. Does this have anything to do with what happened to Nikola Tesla almost 100 years ago with the investigation? Because of electricity, because of free energy for everyone, because of energy that isn't charged for, where there are no companies charging for electricity, because of Wi-Fi. Is any of this related, or are these just conspiracy theories? This isn't an analysis video. We haven't discovered anything, just connected some dots, since people later tell me to watch this video. Would I have read the news? I don't know if you would have read the news in the way I put them together, because there are people who come across these kinds of things and just scroll past them. But when someone pays attention to this and starts connecting the dots, it's like a network is created. A connection that I don't know if the person watching this would have been able to make themselves. Maybe yes, maybe no, it's the connection I made, they're the dots I connected. There won't be a big scientific analysis, there won't be a major revelation behind it. It's simply reading news, connecting them, creating links between them, and together we can draw conclusions. It's not much more than that. It's like a friend telling you and saying, hey, did you see what happened here? It's all connected to this and that, right? These videos aren't much more than that. Now, if you're interested again in the other types of videos, which are more edited, more produced, go watch the Nikola Tesla video we released yesterday. It's great, but hasn't gotten much attention. Check it out because it's really good. It's a pretty deep and thorough investigation about the life of Nikola Tesla, and it has a lot to do with what happened with Nuno Loureiro. For me, it has a lot to do with it. For now, that's what we have. If anything new comes up, we'll be paying attention. Comment scientist down below, and if we get more than 500 people commenting, we'll make a second part. Leave your like, subscribe, and all that. And I'll leave a couple of videos here so you can keep binge watching on this channel. That's all for now. I'm Magnus Mephisto. See you in the next video. Goodbye.